trees here were planted in spring. Sorry, I will start one over. Spring. When were they planted? My name is Alan Ray, and I'm the Urban Forestry Manager at KC Trees. KC Trees, at its core, is to connect trees and people, and we do that by protecting the tree canopy of DC, to restore, enhance, and protect the tree canopy of DC. And our primary goal at the moment is to raise the canopy of DC up to 40% coverage by year 2032. Spring, we have our planting seasons, which are very, very busy, moving around from parks, schools, and homeowners in the city to plant as many trees as we can, typically 5,000 a year at current numbers. And in the summer, we are watering, so that's going with 4 big trucks, 500 gallons, all across the city, and take care of those trees that we planted. Winter looks a little different. We do a lot of pruning, structural pruning on small trees up to about 20-25 feet. So the trees here were planted spring 2019. These are young trees that require a lot of care and maintenance, but in a few years they'll be established on their own and they'll grow into large canopy trees, providing quite a few services for the city and the people that frequent this park. The rewarding part could be planting a tree, just pure and simple. It's very rewarding to see the fruit of your labor. I also really like our school plantings, connecting with kids, planting trees with them, and seeing that connection develop is also really rewarding. Yeah, so trees have a number of functions for us in a macro and micro scale. Obviously they sequester carbon, and that's good for the environment on a global scale. But they also reduce pollutants, and that's good on a local level. They lower people's heating bill, so that only saves them in the pocketbook, but it also helps combat climate change on the other end of less fossil fuels being burned to cool our houses. We also have a huge problem with stormwater runoff in DC. We have a joint system, so there is more impermeable surface now than ever in DC, and that means that a lot of water is running into the Anacostia, filling our sewers and putting sewage in the Anacostia. So one large tree can capture thousands of gallons of rainwater a year, and if you expand that by 5,000 trees a year, all of a sudden you're talking those inputs. So as soon as possible, that tree can be a net positive. But yeah, if you think about, we plant 5,000 trees a year in the city. If you put those all in one space and look at it, that's a small forest. So a small forest every year does quite a bit combating climate change. And forget about trees, and they require a lot of maintenance throughout the course of their life. They take care of us, but we also need to take care of them. And so we're always looking for advocates and people to volunteer. It doesn't have to be your whole life. You don't have to dedicate every weekend to it, but if everyone did it once, it would go a long way. So I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I'm a very outdoorsy person. I'm environmentally minded. So for a long time, I've been torn between living in the city and working the outdoors. And finding a job at KC Trees was a great fusion of those two things that check both boxes. So I'm very grateful to have that opportunity. And